What is up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Ford Era and Ford Era Radio. So this is now the podcast, which used to be F100 Talk, and we got Brycen on today, PRD Design. What up?
How's it going, sir?
Dude, I'm doing good. So I don't know if this is like the first episode or episode 97, but it's the first video episode. So that's really exciting, and I'm happy that you're on it.
Yeah, I appreciate the invite and I'm honored. So,
I figured if, I got to kick it off, I want to kick it off with a buddy who we could just for sure talk crap for an hour. And I mean, you'll call me randomly about something so random and we're on the phone for an hour. So I was like, let's get on here.
yeah, absolutely. Yep.
How's
I know
life been?
sometimes, yeah, it's great, man. Just, man, crazy busy. Just between, yeah, I'm getting ready to I'm getting ready to have a son here in a couple weeks.
Oh,
So, that's a big deal. And then, yeah, looking forward to that. And, my wife's ready. We're all kind of ready, just kind of waiting, still trying to figure out a name, but, so that's a big deal. And then yeah, just super busy in the shop and lots of projects we're trying to get wrapped up and out the door and products we're working on and that sort of thing. So
well, congratulations. That's exciting. I mean, the obvious choices could be Ford. I gave my second son's his name is technically Ford, his middle name, but my wife doesn't let me call him that.
I think we jokingly talked about that, and then my wife's like, people would never let you live that down if you actually named your son Ford.
I mean,
And I'm
my
like,
son's legal name is Ford Lunger.
there you go.
We call him Ari because it's Aaron Ford Lunger. So,
Okay.
but yeah, still technically there. It'll be on his license. I mean,
There you go.
Ari, that could be something.
Yep.
Solomon's a
Yep.
great name. Just throwing it out there.
Hey, that is a great name. It's
Biblical
just
ties.
strong. Exactly. Yeah. Here you go.
Uh, dude, that's awesome, man. That's gonna be so cool. I bet your daughter's so excited to have a little brother.
Yeah, we talk about it a lot just so that, she's, warming up to the idea and everything. And yeah, she talks about it and is looking forward to it, I think. So, I think she's gonna be the one that helps me teach him all the car stuff though, because she knows. Well, we just drive down the road and she's like, "Dad, look, a Ford F-150," and "Dad, look, that's a Dodge Ram," and "Hey, that's a Hyundai," and you're like, "How do you like?" I mean, she'll see a car and be like, "Dad, what kind of car is that?" And I'll say like, "Oh, that's a whatever." And then she just the next time she sees one, she fires it right off. And I'm like, "Man, you know more, she knows more about cars than my wife does."
I mean,
So it's
uh,
pretty funny.
that's awesome. And then what are some of the projects you've been working on? I know just from seeing you're starting to get really close on that little single cab short bed. What is it, buckwheat?
Bushwhacked
Bushwhack.
buckwheat.
I was
That's
close.
it. Yeah, no, we're really close on that. I've been thrashing big time on it,
For the
putting in
people
extra
who don't
hours.
know, let's give them like a full synopsis on what that is.
Yeah, so Bushwhacked is a 1967 F100 short bed of factory patina that we're building for our customer Chris out of Ohio, and it's uh, it's on a roaster shop chassis, one of their slam spec chassis. It's got a Gen 3 Coyote with a 10 speed, and a bunch of custom touches, obviously, to make it fit the frame. Those slam spec chassis sit about 5 inches off the ground, so everything has to get moved up in the truck in order to give you ground clearance. So, we had to build a whole new bed floor and tubs. Plus, it has 345 rear tires in the back, so it's I had to build some big big tubs to hold those, and then inner fenders up front and drive shaft transmission tunnel in the cab, and make everything fit. So tried to do certain modifications in a way that kind of was an ode to original styling a little bit. In the bed with the tubs, we kind of tried to keep that bump side tub shape as far as like the overall profile of it. They're obviously bigger and different, but tried to just give it some of that flair, and then also with um, just with the firewall modifications we had to do to fit around it, because the stock bump side motor is centered or is offset to the passenger side in these trucks. And so because of the roaster shop chassis and clearances and everything, the motor is centered. And so we had to modify the firewall, but all we did was take the factory firewall recess and widen it towards the driver's side a little bit, and patch it back together in order to make it look like. And so when you look at it, like most people will look at it, they won't even realize that we modified the firewall. It looks stock, except for the recess in the firewall for the engine is now moved over toward the driver's side some, and that sort of thing. So it just has some custom touches that way. We're running Scott's Hot Rods hood hinges on it, because of the lowered stance and everything. Factory hood hinges weren't going to work and all that sort of thing. So we're running those. We have, we custom built the headers and exhaust on it, all stainless, and it's got bare brakes on it, which we matched all the powder coat to the frame, and the inner fenders and core sport, all that stuff. All the powder coat matches the bronze that's on the brake calipers, and then it's got Billet Specialties wheels and. Just a vintage air, Dakota digital gauges, American Auto Wire harness, just all the stuff. It's got we bought a fat fender interior kit for it, so it's it's got a nice interior that's going in it, and
That sounds like
it's
everything going.
yeah, it's a nice truck. It's I mean, as when we build stuff, I really, especially on these patina builds, like love keeping the patina on the outside. We had to do a little bit of repairs here and there that, we ended up doing some patina matching on the paint and all that, and it came out really well. But that's a couple of real small spots on the exterior. But other than that, the exterior is all just a good original patina, but everything else underneath, we actually used. Typically, in the past, we've used Raptor bedliner spray, for like the bottom of the body and that sort of thing. On this one, we got with Sweet Patina and partnered up with them on that to use all their new N1 coatings, it's basically a Raptor competitor. And so, but it's all tinted to be the pebble beige, inside the bed and underneath and all that stuff. So it looks really killer when you put it up on the lift and you see the pebble beige bed liner, material on the bottom of the whole body, and then you see that bronze of the frame rails and all that stuff on the frame. Man, it really pops, and it's got a really really bitchin' look to it. So
Cool. That's really cool. I love that color combo. I mean, I had that one that was like its little brother. So
yep.
yeah, that always have a little spot right there. What else are you still working on? How's that big block denside crew cab? You still got that thing going?
That one we are just getting ready to button up here. We've been finishing all the wiring, taking a finished truck that was running and driving with one engine, disassembling it, totally getting rid of that engine transmission package.
What exactly is that one? Because I know, because I mean, I came to visit you, what was it, 6, 7 months ago?
I think it was like beginning of May, I think, maybe.
Oh, okay. So
yeah, beginning of May, because it was like a week or two right before the Grand Hats.
Yeah, that's true. So I have a little bit of an idea, but I think a lot of people that are watching or listening might not. So
yeah. So it's a 75 F26 crew cab, and actually, pretty sure it's an F26 crew cab. I can't even. Yeah, because I don't think it was converted to 4x4. But anyway, the truck was already done when it came to us. The previous builder had somebody put a custom 4-link front suspension in it with Fox coilovers and Dana 60 front, all this, upgrades and things. And then it was already rewired with a brand new wiring harness and vintage air, Dakota digital gauges, really nice, kind of cool truck, kind of uniquely built. And, but it had a big block Ford in it. Yeah, it was that 572, whatever big block, Ford crate engine. That's 655 horsepower, I think is what they are stock. So obviously the engine was cool, but from my perspective, and even obviously I think that's why the customer brought it to us, is that it was paired with a Ford. I think it was like an AOD or a 4R70 or something like that, 4-speed, which I wouldn't have paired that transmission behind that engine for that big of a truck myself, but it was running like Gen 1 Holly Sniper stuff, and then it had like an MSD transmission controller in it and some of those things, and just the engine trans combo was a little clumsy. Thing had loads of power. It was fun to drive if you were putting your foot into it, but for just nice cruising, it just wasn't that great at it. So he wanted something that was a little better, as far as drivability, and something that he felt he could just get in, turn the key, start it, drive, be comfortable, still have good power. Obviously, it's not 655 with the new Godzilla, but still to have, by the time we get done with the tuning and stuff, there'd be around 450 or so. So I mean, he's losing a couple hundred horsepower, but the Godzilla is still such a great engine that I know he's gonna love the drivability on it. And
You could always, I mean, you get the right cam tune and you do a little bit of head work and you're already at 600. So he really could
yeah,
get there if he ever wanted to. But there, like you said, there's no reason, or you put a blower on it. But,
well, that's what we even talked about. He's like, should I go with something bigger? I'm like, well, if you are absolutely in love with that 655 horsepower, obviously, I think you're going to wish it had a little more. But from a drivability aspect, if your main goal is just to literally drive the wheels off of it and feel like you can go anywhere without any extra headaches or anything like that, I mean, I think stock form will be just fine. But yeah, I mean, the ability as the aftermarket continues to come out with cool new stuff for the Godzilla, the ability to add some power later is going to be easy for him if he wants to. So yeah, it's got the 10R 140 in it. It's got our engine mount kit, in it that we, put in it. And we have a transfer case shifter that we make for those two that we bolt right on and locates that. And yeah, just getting it all, dialed back in for him. We fixed the stance on it. It had a lot of a leaning back stance. It was almost a what do they call those? The
squat a
the
truck.
squatted truck. It was almost that bad. It wasn't quite that bad, but it was almost, to me anyway. It was, we measured it. It was at the bumper. It was about 3 inches lower in the back than the front, but at the rear wheels, it was about two. It was a little over 2 inches. So we actually raised the back right at 2 inches. To bring it back up, and it actually, based on what we've measured so far, it's kind of leveled the truck out, that way. So
Leveled
it's
or
going to
like
have
Brycen leveled? Because like you like a little
a.
bit raked forward.
I do like a little bit of rake forward. I'm not going to lie about that, and I don't even care, to admit that, because I that's just the way I like them. But anyway, no, this one is kind of more like truly leveled. I mean, a leveled truck looks great when it's sitting still. As soon as you hit the gas and everything leans back like this, they usually look like they're leaning back to me, which is why I like to have a little bit of a forward rake.
I hear
Uh,
you.
and and then if you put anything of weight in the back at all, then you look like you have an invisible trailer on the back.
Yeah, but
And
I'm inside of it the entire time that you're talking about, so I don't know how it looks. I'm just
but
happy.
see, my mind thinks about what people are seeing on the outside.
Uh,
That's where I'm going.
I hear you.
So
For me, it's just, what I see. So like,
I hear you.
but yeah, you get
It's
both, best of both.
but
That's
but
also,
that's what makes the car world go round, right? Everybody's got their own ideas of what's cool and what's good. So
did you end up putting your brakes on the crew cab?
yeah, so that one's getting our brakes. We got the Dana 60 rear kit on it, and then we have our latest version of our Dana 60 front that fits that Snowfighter axle that's in it, and just bolts right on. So
I would assume that the last time, I can't even remember the last time we had you on the podcast, but you probably didn't have all your parts and brake system stuff then, right?
I think maybe I had one brake kit.
Okay.
I don't
Well, why don't
honestly
you
can't
give us
remember
a
the exact time with
spiel?
it.
This is, this is your time to give everybody the spiel. What is, you call it Halt, right?
Yeah, yeah, we just tried to come up with a brand. I wanted something, obviously we're not making the brake calipers. We're not making the rotors. We're not trying to put Willwood out of business or, whatever like that. We're trying to partner with them to use their proven components to make the braking better for these old trucks. Because if you got a 3/4 ton or bigger, there's just nothing out there for 60s and 70s trucks. And so, yeah, our whole thing is just to obviously fill that void in the market. I mean, there's a few people offering some kits out there that are kind of it really just depends on what you're looking for, but a lot of the guys are using like GM calipers and some stuff that's just old off the shelf type parts, and obviously they're great because if you're trying to swap disc brakes on, you can get one of their kits for fairly cheap and whatever. I don't know how much better the braking is in as far as actual stopping power on some of those things. But for us, my main goal with the whole brake thing was to come up with a whole line of stuff for all these trucks that was gonna kind of be the end all for the best brakes that you can buy for these trucks. I mean, it's that achieves multiple things, like the guys, all the high boy guys that still love to run 16-inch wheels, and that sort of thing, to have brakes that are dramatically better, but still allow guys to keep the classic styling of the trucks if they want, that sort of thing. And so I came up with the first kit, then I came out with our Dana 60 rear kit sometime last summer. And then, just I knew I had more kits that we were working on that we hadn't released yet. And so I wanted to, knowing that was coming, I wanted to kind of create a brand around the brakes, so that, that way as we get these kits out there, the shop name is still attached to them, but I wanted something that, we could just kind of create a brand around. And so that's where we came up with the name Halt, for our kits and everything. So, so, people see it on social media, whatever, they're probably going to see, I'll put it up there and even in the logo that we came up with, it's Halt Braking Systems. It says PRD Design right on it. So, I mean, it's our product. We're not trying to pitch it off as something else, completely. Because I think the part of the draw to the kits is the fact that we're making them, and so keep the shop name on it. And then, really just, like I said, fill the hole in the market of trying to find good quality brakes that are, I guess, better than what you'd even find from like a factory replacement standpoint. So the first kit we came out with was a Dana 44 Dana 60 kit for like open knuckle, 76 to 79 axles. And then, the first year that was the only thing I had sold, was that one product. And I sold, a dozen or so of those kits. And that went really well. But then I knew we wanted to do a rear kit to match, and then eventually tackle like the closed knuckles and things like that. Cause there's just, especially the closed knuckle stuff, there's no good options out there in my opinion. So, so we did the Dana 60 rear last summer. And everything we've built has been a necessity for the builds in the shop. So we built the very first kit ever was built for a truck that we were building. And it was just to not have to run old 70s technology disc brakes and have just a better stopping power, number one, but something that's going to be excellent quality, above what you'd find, out there. And then, so with the rear, we came out with that. And then, since last year's rear kit, we've come out with our closed knuckle kit, which covers all, for sure, 67 to 77 closed knuckles, whether it's small or large. It's the same kit, bolts right onto both of them. So, so there's that kit. I need to test that kit on some of the earlier closed knuckles back into the 60s. I've been told that they're basically the same and that they should bolt up, but again, until I've would actually bolt them on, I don't know. So I need to test those to make sure that those fit or not or whatever. But for sure in the bump side, dent side years that fits that. Then we've come out with a two-wheel drive front kit that fits two-wheel drive 3/4 tons that had standard duty drum brakes. And that was the drum brakes that were a 2-inch wide brake shoe. Those actually used their own spindle for whatever reason. And I think it was a carryover from like slick side years, because actually that kit actually fits. I know for sure that it fits all of the twin I-beam trucks, so down to 65 and up. I've done some looking and I haven't actually tested anything yet, but from what it looks like even the solid axle early 60s trucks actually use the same spindle. So I need to actually test that, because if that is the case, then the brakes will actually fit the solid axle trucks too. But I need to test that. But so we came out with this two-wheel drive kit that for sure fits 65 up to 79 if they have this one standard duty spindle. And then we have another kit we are just starting to take pre-orders on, that we're hoping to have out there in the next 3 to 4 weeks. That's going to be that's going to fit all of the two-wheel drive, heavy-duty drum brake trucks. So it's a different spindle, but that spindle is actually the same spindle for disc brake trucks. Um, and so what I don't think a lot of guys know, everybody says, oh, if you want disc brakes on your F-250 and you have drums, you need to go get a whole entire I-beam swap out of a truck with disc brakes. Well, if you have HD drum brakes, you actually don't need HD. You don't need the whole I-beam. You could actually just swap out the wheel hubs and take the brake brackets and all that stuff. You don't have to swap all the I-beams. But either way, there's obviously finding two-wheel drive 3/4 ton disc brakes to just bolt on is not exactly easy because most people that have them don't want to get rid of them.
Cars aren't
Or
full of these trucks anymore like they were 20, 30 years.
yeah, and really honestly, it's the same thing with all the solid axle stuff. I mean, that's the same reason that we decided to start coming out with, especially with the closed knuckle kits. I mean, yeah, I mean, obviously, it sounds great and all being able to just go buy a disc brake front end and swap it into your truck, but if it's a Dana 44, typically I buy them anywhere from like 800 to 1,200 bucks, depending on condition. And then a lot of times they still need rebuilt in some way for a disc brake front. And then if you find a Dana 60, it's like good luck buying one for under $2,000 and then still have to rebuild them usually. So by the time you're into these whole entire axle swaps, you're into it for thousands of dollars anyway. So it's like, well, why don't we develop these nice brake kit parts that, yeah, it's still going to be expensive, but yeah, you don't have to go try to shop around and drive 6 hours to go, buy an axle that somebody decided to put up on Facebook Marketplace. And yeah, so the same thing with the
Like,
same thing with the I-beam stuff. I mean, good luck finding two-wheel drive discs.
no, good,
So
good luck trying to even find the beams anymore. Like people are having a hard time even doing that. But what's cool about your stuff, I mean, obviously with Woolwood on board, you also it's made in America stuff. So like that's part of like it's not that it's expensive, it's just costly, like
yeah,
it costs a
well,
lot.
and that's where when I was looking at doing this, I'm like, would there have been cheaper routes for us to go? Yes, but my main goal wasn't cheap. My main goal was I want to try to provide the best all around solution that I can that tackles a whole bunch of issues and still provides a super high quality product. And then, yeah, still trying to keep it somewhat manageable. I mean, yeah, I mean, I understand that not everybody can afford, $2,000 to $3,000 for a new brake setup, but I mean, man, by the time you spend all the time manufacturing and R&D and all the other stuff, I mean, everything's just expensive these days and there's just no way around it, so it's like, we're obviously, I'm not over here rolling around and I don't have stockpiles of cash sitting behind me from all the money we're making from them. But it's nice to offer it's nice to offer a good high quality product and have the customers that we do sell to that when they get them and they bolt them on. I mean, we just had a guy the other day that actually we've shipped out a number of the closed knuckle kits now, but this guy was the first customer to get his on the road, and so he as soon as he got it, he like just within a couple of days, got it bolted on, got everything sorted out, started driving it. He's like, dude, like, number one, he's like, everything bolted together perfectly. It was awesome. He's like, it was just, it was nice to see it go together like I hoped it would. And then he's like, man, I feel like I got a whole new truck. He's like, because he lives in Southern California. So he's like, whether he's driving up and down a mountain road for fun or driving through traffic, he's like, I used to feel a little sketched out, certain times, but now he's like, to have the confidence in the stuff is, he's like, I feel like I got a new truck. So I'm like, that's what I want to hear. I mean, that to me means more than, we could charge more for the kits and I can make more money, but man, to sell the kits at where we're at right now and, make a little bit of money off of them, obviously to make it worth our while and keep the lights on and, that sort of thing. But to have guys that bolt on our stuff and are like, man, I can't believe how awesome this is. I've wished I could put disc brakes on this thing forever, and now I've got awesome brakes. And so yeah, it's again, using Woolwood stuff, partnering with them to have their proven products. And it's cool too because we work through them and we're dealers of theirs. When guys actually call Woolwood up, hey, do you guys have anything for a whatever 71 F250 whether it's 2 or 4 wheel drive, I get a number of calls a month. Guys like, yeah, Willwood sent me your way. I'd called them first, and they said, oh no, you need to call this guy. So I'm like, that's awesome when you can be working with a company like Willwood and they actually recommend people to you because and they straight up told me, yeah, we're never going to make those kits because they just much like it is for me. I mean, you just can't make everything. I mean, I get guys that are. I never would have guessed going to the F100 Grand National Show the number of people that would ask me about international trucks for brakes. I can't tell you how many people asked me about international trucks at the F100 show. I was kind of surprised, but yeah, I mean, maybe eventually, but it's you can't make everything, so everybody's kind of got their niche. And Willwood loves to work with people that are filling different voids in the market, and so that's been pretty awesome to have them as a company that we're working with that way. So they've been great through the whole process.
So what are so those are your main setups. Are anything else that you've been developing or have out?
Um, that's kind of it at the moment because really once we finish with this 2 wheel drive kit here in the next couple of weeks, um, that's really going to cover all of the bump side and dent side trucks as far as 3/4 ton goes. There may be some subtle variations here and there that we'll have to overcome because we have found a few random variants of Ford parts, which I haven't really been able to fully explain yet. So we'll work through some of those little things, but for the most part, we'll have that whole range covered. So I do want to work into the 1 ton stuff, F350 stuff. Brakes that'll fit on a Dana, like a stock Dana 70 rear axle. Because I've had a number of guys asking about that stuff. Like, hey, I've got my F350 that I use for towing, and I'd love to put better brakes on it. I'm like, well, I don't have a Dana 70 kit yet, which there's a lot of similarities, but there's also some differences too. So we just got to work through that process. And then the front stuff as well. Actually, the F350s use the same spindle as the F250s.
Nice.
I think wheel bearing sizes go up a hair, but as far as the main body, the spindle, all that's the same. So, and even rotor sizes were the same. There was just some differences in the wheel hub and that sort of thing. So again, we'll work through the F350 stuff next, probably. Probably will entertain getting into the Chevy market first, because I've had a number of guys reach out about Chevy 3/4 ton stuff. But I know a lot more about these Ford axles than probably ever thought I would, but also, it's obviously been a necessity, but I'll have to go through the whole same learning process I've had to do with the Ford stuff with all the Chevy stuff. So
Yeah. I mean, it's cool. It's cool to see how everything kind of progresses. And then you're still busy at the shop. I mean, you were telling us about the 67, then the 75, but I'm sure you got a few other projects that you've got in the mix too.
yeah, yeah. I think last time you were here, I think you saw that Mercedes we were working on. We are working on all the final wiring and stuff on that car, trying to get it done. And so that one will be getting out of here. And then yeah, there was another we swapped a guy's 2 wheel drive body onto a 4x4 frame, for him, and did some powder coating and things like that on it. So that's getting ready to leave here soon. But yeah, really the next round of stuff is all in bare metal at this point. So we've got a 71 crew cab that we're still doing metal work on. Then we have a 71 single cab long bed. It's on a Scott's Hot Rods chassis. That one we're trying to finish up metal work on that so it can get painted. And then we have a 69 crew cab that we're doing a Kinzer 4-wheel drive conversion on the front. And, that'll be a super nice truck when it's done too. So, but that one we're hopefully, I was supposed to hear sometime this week from the place in Chicago that's stripping the body down to bare metal. So we'll, as soon as that's done here, we'll go pick it up, either probably be sometime next week. But yeah, so then we'll have those 3 bare metal projects to, get completed. But yeah, just it's a never-ending, revolving door. What's that?
You're having it acid dipped in Chicago, or?
Yeah, there's a company called Ready Strip, and they chemical dip them, and then they do a really light, like, media blast on them at the very end, just to kind of etch the metal so you can prime it or whatever, and have a better time with everything sticking that way. So yeah, so they do it all over there. there's nobody really close enough here that does like big stuff, in the way that they do. And they've been doing it for like 70 years. So I'm like, you got some experience. So, um,
Cool. Well, how
yeah.
do you I know a lot of people talk smack about, when you chemical dip because they've heard the horrors, but like you've probably dealt a lot with it. And how do you like really seal everything up to know that you're never going to have issues? Like how do you go about it? 'Cause I've heard different people have like all different types of ways.
Um, say, uh, really the biggest thing to me is, you mean as far as like the
Like the
chemical dipping, as
inside,
far as like getting inside of panels and things like that?
yeah,
I mean, the funny part is that if you sandblast, if you sandblast, you only get what you can see or what the gun will reach. The liquid gets into everything, and so when it does clean out more than what you would get with a sandblaster, um, basically um, you expose more stuff, but then you have the ability to go back in and try to prime things. And really, there's a lot of more modern body shop technologies and things like that that can spray stuff up inside the cavities and panels and things like that. But also there's certain areas where if we're doing, when it comes back, if there's a panel that needs to be cut because of rust repair or whatever, once we get it repaired, and say before we put the last panel on, we will prime things and put weld through primer and etching primer and stuff in places that we can't see once we get it all fully assembled. That way, or we just try extra hard to get things sprayed up into areas that you can't reach, or even if it's like taking some Pour 15 and actually hand painting up into some areas that you can really only reach with your hand, and that sort of thing. I mean, I think there's probably pros and cons to everything as far as the stripping process goes. I've done a lot of stuff over the years with other shops where we would pick up a body from having it sandblasted, and you go to do a little bit of rust repair. Well, you could sit there for 5 hours blowing air in some of the holes in the body, and there would just be a constant flow of sand coming out for 5 hours because there's so much sand that gets into spots that you can't see. And so that's always a battle with sandblast stuff. Those sort of things. I mean, we've had pretty good luck. Obviously, we haven't even painted any of the bodies that we've had chemical dipped at this point. We haven't painted, but when we have gotten into the rust repair and the customization side of it, like things are pretty clean, in between layers and stuff. So if you can get paint into areas that you normally wouldn't be able to spray except for on top of rust, if it's clean metal now and you can get something on there, it's still going to hold up better than what the rusty metal behind it might have if it wouldn't have been wouldn't have been stripped or whatever. So,
yeah, well, that's awesome. I only stripped my B100 and they did like a coating to it before I got it back, but I also sold
okay.
the project before I ever did anything with it. So, yeah,
Yep.
but
Yep.
yeah, that's cool. So what are some of the other stuff that you've got going in the next few months? Are you going out to Super Nationals coming up soon?
I'm not. I'm done. I'm done for shows for the year with my son on the way here. So
Oh, true,
it's
true.
I'll be doing my thing at home, for the rest of the year. But I mean, we'll see where the next year goes. I mean, I definitely hope to get out to more shows next year a little bit, just obviously to keep our stuff in front of people. I think going to the Grand Nats, so far nothing has really come of going to the Grand Nationals, as far as any new work into the shop or anything like that. But that's how it goes. I mean, you can't go into it expecting that stuff. So it's more or less just to get things that we built in front of people, and with the Easy Care truck that we had there, I mean, you know, I had great responses from it. And people are like, dude, I've seen
Tell the
pictures of this
people
thing.
about that truck who don't know it from you saying Easy Care.
Yeah, so that's the first truck that I finished out of the shop here after I opened. So 69 Highboy factory flare side bed. It was an old fire truck out from Ventura, California, and then my customer bought it and we turned it into I think one of the most unique and coolest highboys out there, just based on visual looks, also, but with the things that we did to it with the Coyote motor and all the drivetrain stuff and our full disc brake system and electric power brakes, electric power steering, all the vintage air and Dakota Digital, American Auto Wire. It's got a pros pick bed cover on it and bedwood and just a lot of really cool upgrades that make it a super enjoyable truck from a drivability standpoint and actually a usability standpoint. It's still a high boy on leaf springs, but we put Fox shocks on it, so it rides a little better. So, just stuff like that. It's just a really cool upgraded truck. It's kind of, for me, that truck obviously at the very beginning set the bar of like, okay, this is where I'd like to be as far as our highboy builds, at minimum, so it was cool. That truck had never been to a show before the F100 Nats. So, that's where, getting that truck out into the public eye, beyond just photos that I post on Facebook or Instagram or whatever. It was a cool opportunity to actually hear some legit feedback from people staring at it in person. Because, in photos and stuff, I think it's a little bit of a misunderstood truck because it looks cool, but when you see it in person, I think it hits a little different. So it was nice to get it out to that, and I'd like to continue to do that in the future. Get our projects out at shows and that sort of thing. So
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword. For me, I like the shows because it's always a deadline. Like
oh yeah,
I've got one of those looming over me. Let me look at the calendar. 79 days to go till SEMA. But
you're just a glutton for punishment.
I guess, I mean, I haven't told anyone yet as far as like the YouTube goes or I guess the podcast, but if everything goes to plan, I'm going to be taking Goldust and Snickers to SEMA, and we got 79 days to do a whole bunch of work. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I mean,
Definitely
I'm
anxious.
excited to see. I'm excited to see what you do because it's like everybody knows Gold Dust for what it is currently. Everybody's seen Snickers from everything you've done, from blowing it up to to putting it back together and getting it to SEMA last year. So it'd be cool to see what you do with it this time and all that stuff. So
Snickers visually is going to look very similar to how it did last year. Like I'm not changing a lot from the look. It's just getting completed. Like it's
yeah,
really my hope is it's going to be a finished truck. Now they're never actually finished, but you know what I mean. Like at least this whatever I have in my head currently be done, and then we can figure out a new plan later.
I hear you.
But yeah, it's scary and fun, and it feels like it feels like deja vu because I was literally here last year doing the same exact thing. But it's fun.
Yeah, I
So
remember
much fun.
having because you came to the shop in early August last year
Yeah.
and did a tour then, and I remember you were sweating bullets about SEMA for last year. So it's hopefully this year's not quite as daunting, but
I don't think it is, but also that might make me underestimate it. I don't know. I'm trying to not underestimate anything.
so treat it like last year and
Exactly.
just be hammered down.
The
Yeah,
roof's on
that's a
fire all day, every day.
yeah, exactly. Yep. Just
Oh my gosh.
it's way easier to not get sleep right now than to be up against the deadline at SEMA and still not get sleep and still not have it done. So
Yeah, no, that's definitely true. And I'm trying to push if everything I really need to have Kato, who now lives in Utah, finish up the interior. And he said he could ship everything to me, but I really want to bring the truck to him. So hopefully I could have it done like a few weeks ahead of SEMA, and then I could take it to Utah and then go from Utah to Vegas. So that gives me even less time, but I'm not right now I'm not planning for that because he's like I could make it
because you did the seat last year. Is he just going to
yeah.
do door panels and some other stuff? What?
Door panel, headliner, carpet. I want to wrap the whole dashboard because they come out. I just think that would be super cool.
Yep.
Um, but we'll see. Speaker boxing, like I don't know. Also, it doesn't have to be like 100%. It just has to, like I could always bring it to him right after to do some random stuff. But
Well, last year at SEMA, you bolted the wheels on during the show. Maybe this year you can finish bolting the interior on during the
Last year in the
show.
parking lot, we put the bench seat in it.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah, Cato brought the bench seat and we put it in the parking lot, and we did the slosh tub seat covered in the Apex leather, and Cato killed it. But all we did was the
yeah.
because like there was no time, and I'm like, yeah, eventually we'll do the rest, and he's got the rest of the leather sitting at his shop. It's just like, got to do it.
Got to do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's the fun part, like snapping back into doing it. And I don't know what I've been doing for the last 9 months, but that's why we were talking about, shows give you a deadline because, PRP was like, hey, would you be interested? And now I'm like, all right, I got to start working on my truck. And it's like, probably should have been working on it for the last 9 months, but procrastination's more fun. And I had
I
Otis
hear you.
too.
I hear you. Yeah, I obviously before, and the drill when you got family and kids, sometimes it makes it hard to make some of those decisions to have to work a lot more. And I try really hard not to work um, any obscene amounts of overtime. I usually work what would be considered overtime every day because I'm basically here at the shop from about 6:30 till usually sometime between 5:30 and 6:30. So, but that's the job as a business owner. But when you do, uh, I I think about shows as in like it's a deadline, so it sucks because you always end up thrashing at the end trying to get it there. But then you it also forces you to get something done too. Whereas like you said, you've been kind of sitting there for 9 months, and the next thing you know, it's like, hey, you want to do this? And you're like, well, you know, I've been not doing anything for 9 months, but yeah, sure. Where it's like, well, maybe if this deadline wouldn't be there, I'd maybe not work on it for the next 79 days, but now you got something and you got a reason to work on it. And
Well,
so
I've been like
it's a good and bad.
yeah, I've been slowly doing certain things, but I definitely haven't been as gung ho as I feel right now. But
Yeah.
also in my head, I was like, I want to finish my Expedition Thunder project, which is pretty much done. And I wanted to finish my van, which is pretty much done. So like I threw a few other things in there that actually did get done. But no excuse. Now it's time to finish it. And then, hopefully I can do some four-wheel drive burnouts, but don't hold me to
Yeah. No, I hear you there.
it.
Yeah. That's how I think, even my car project that isn't even barely a project anymore because I haven't worked on it in years. But I every day I put it up on top of my office, so it's here in the shop up on top of the office. So every day I look at it up there and it bums me out. But hopefully one of these years I'll
Well,
decide to get it back down and create a deadline
what'll
for
be
myself.
cool is you could always now you could finish it with your kids. I mean, they're really young, but you still could like they'll be a part of it in the photos and like that's a part of the process that you never could have had you actually finished it when you thought you would have.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like how cool is
Yep.
that? Like your son will be like, dude, look, I'm like a day old in this picture, and now I'm driving this to prom or whatever.
I've got pictures of my daughter when she was only a couple weeks old. Uh, when we went by the old shop when I worked at Trick Tools, and the car was in there sitting on a table, and so I've got pictures of her and myself. I'm holding her and in front of the car and everything, and I'm like, yeah, this. But I'm sure it'll be one of those things like, hey, check out this old picture of me and Dad in his car, and now here I am, graduating high school, and he still hasn't finished it yet. But
No, I think the goal is that maybe she has to like drive it to her first prom or something. You know,
yeah, no, that'd be I wouldn't even want to go to prom. I just want to keep driving the car. But
right? Yeah, and she's the one driving too. So whoever she's taking is like, no, 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 no matter what, you're not driving, dude.
yeah, exactly. No, and I think we bought my daughter a like one of these all wheel drive electric Power Wheels type cars, and man, she picked that up fast, and now she just flies around the yard. It's goes over all the terrain and there's a fire pit area that we have that we put a bunch of stuff, grass and old clippings from the yard and stuff in it, and creates like a little mound, and she just flies at that thing and goes over it, and her hairs and stuff's all flying everywhere. And the first time she did it, she's like, "What?" It's just like, I think she's definitely gonna be whoever she ends up with someday. She's probably gonna know more about cars than they do for sure. And
That,
it's
that's how it goes when it comes to
yeah, but
all guy daughters.
oh, absolutely. I think like you said, I mean, yeah, there's some potential there to get my kids involved in the car build at some point. My daughter loves to help me out with anything, literally like installing a new faucet at the house, and she's like, "Dad, let me help." And I'm laying under the sink, and she's laying under there too with her safety glasses on, and
I
taking a
wonder
screwdriver and just
what like the Guinness World Record for like youngest TIG welder is or something. You know what I mean? Like you need to like have your kids like start participating in random fabrication, like Guinness World Record things.
there
'Cause,
you
like,
go.
that would be the
Yeah.
funniest thing. Like the current world record is like a 2.5-year-old kid, and you're like, "Hey, look, I got an 18-month-old son. He's laying down dimes, dude. He doesn't know how
Teach
to
her how
weld it,
to
but he knows how to weld."
Yeah, teacher, start instead of I'll turn Mickey Mouse Clubhouse off and start putting on like Ron Covell metal shaping DVDs.
100%. 100%.
She can start rolling out panels on a buck and all that stuff. So
She's over here. She's like plastic Power Wheels. No, no, no. We make them by hand, all steel. And she's, 6 years
yeah,
old, custom made Power Wheels. Yep, I did all of it. That
I
would be
thought about that with her little plastic car. I'm like, how could I transfer all this drivetrain over into something cool looking? Make like a little miniature highboy
yeah.
for to drive around in.
So, have you seen that one in Brazil?
Uh huh. That
That
thing's
guy
pretty
sells
cool.
that. He sells those
Yeah.
as a kit in Brazil. And
Huh.
I was just down there. They one of the guys were talking to me about it, and I was like, I need to buy one. And then he told me it's still like 12 or $15,000, but it's all handmade. I mean,
Yeah. I mean,
imagine if
that's
I came to you and I
wow.
said, "Hey, build me a quarter scale, or really like it's more like a half scale
Yeah.
bump side from scratch. Like you're making the hood, you're making the fenders, you're making the bed sides. It's
So I
gonna
thought
be
about, believe it or not, I've actually thought a lot about this because you could almost, if you could transpose a side image of a bump side and turn it into just a silhouette photo with your body lines and such on it, you could essentially laser cut it out. Do the same thing with like a front grill, hood, those kind of things, and then you could basically laser cut a handful of panels, add a little bit of shape into them, and then weld them together and have yourself a body with. I mean, it wouldn't necessarily be cheap, but it'd be I think it could be pulled off in a way that would be pretty
Are
cool.
you gonna put the bump line in on your big beautiful machine that most shops don't have anymore?
Yeah, I mean, it could be put in a number of different ways. So we could definitely do it. So
That would be
um,
cool. I actually have drawings that I made to try to do something like that once, but I never did anything with it. I'll send you the drawings just so
there
you
you go.
my idea was. But
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like I want to start getting into figuring out how to get my kids more into this. Like I've been wanting to do like a Ford era kids version where it's like a whole new channel, but it's literally just my kids. And it's, when we go to events, it's them talking and showing what they enjoy, or like, making random ABC songs, but it's like aspirated, boosted, carburetor.
Oh, my daughter actually says the ABCs with car brands. So and she started doing that all on her own. So it's pretty funny.
That is
She
cool.
says, yeah, she was like, A is for Acura. She gets most of them right, but for Acura, she says Acura, which is hilarious.
How
But
old is she now?
she'll be 4 in November. So, but yeah, she goes down through the list. She'll say, B is Buick and C is Camry and D is Dodge, and go down through the list. It cracks me up a lot. It's pretty funny. I'm like, I didn't teach her to do that with the ABC. She just started doing it all by herself with it. I'm like, yeah, that's my girl. So,
Awesome. Overachiever.
yep, yep. So, what
Something.
when you went to Brazil, what was like the one thing that like maybe kind of blew your mind or something?
Um, if I were to say one thing only, I would say the craftsmanship, but that's because I underestimated it. I
Mm,
I've bought a lot of like Mexican and Colombian trucks,
yep.
and compared to American standards, they're, great trucks, but you wouldn't really want to do body work on them. You wouldn't want to do a full restoration on them because you're going to do a ton more work than you're expecting because they just build things different. They over there it's keep it on the road. So it's you just get it done. And in Brazil, I was expecting that same thing, but what I found was it was like more American quality on everything, which is really nice. Like the show I went to is called the Santa Catarina Custom Show, and it's really like Grand Nationals in a way.
Mm.
I mean Grand National Roadster Show, not Grand National F100.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
very, very, custom with a K. And then because there's a big truck scene, there's a lot of trucks as well. But the level of stuff there was really, really high end and cool. And like they can't get parts cheap. Everything that comes into the country is like over 125% taxed. So they make things by hand and like, or they figure everything out and make it, which I love
Mm.
because it really brings you back to like the old school hot rodding. Like, in a
Oh,
way,
yeah.
we do have it too easy right now. Like, you want to build the most badass bump side in America, like, you can easily do that. You just need to have a
Yep.
budget and know what you want. You can go shopping I mean, you can literally go shopping in one day, and then within a month or two, all the parts are going to show up and you could build a truck. But then
Yep.
in Brazil, like, you can't do that. You have to make
Yep.
most things or figure out how it works. Legally, you're
Yep.
not even allowed to change your motor to anything that has more than 10% power over what it came with factory.
Who
Uh,
comes with these rules?
yeah, there's all kinds of craziness, but the country itself, it was incredible. Like the people were amazing, the scenery was
Mm.
beautiful, the trucks were awesome. Like I could definitely see myself going there more often, except for the really long flight.
Oh,
I'm
how
not a
long
big
was
fan
that?
of it was like 15 plus hours, I think, or
Oh,
eight.
wow.
Well, it was like three different flights, so like it was a total of that much.
Oh,
The main flight was
gotcha.
8 or 9 hours straight, which was a lot.
That's a lot. Yeah.
It's a lot.
That's enough when I hear people like, oh, we're going to Europe or China or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, that just the first thing I think about is sitting on an airplane for 17 hours. So I'm like,
Well,
that sounds
I
terrible.
I've I've traveled a few places, and I went once to Saudi Arabia for that car show thing, and I didn't pay
Yep.
for any of the stuff. They flew me out, so they sent me first class, like in the nice chairs that lay down. That was like a 21-hour flight. It was amazing. Well, on this trip, I asked my travel agent to price me, regular and first class, and it was literally 10 times the price. And I'm like, no, I can't swing that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But man, when I was walking
Yeah.
through,
And then so then you got a tall guy like yourself sitting in normal seats and uncomfortable for 10 hours. And
well, when you sit in one of those like first class ones, I mean, man, it
oh,
will
yeah.
not make that trip hard. But I feel
I
like
got
it's
the I
like
got the
identifying.
free up I got the free upgrade to first class one time, and of course it was for like an hour
Oh,
flight,
of course.
so it was stupid. But yeah, that 1 hour was like the best flying hour of my
Yeah.
life.
But I had a great time. I I'm trying to plan a trip to go back there. Their summer and winter is flipped from ours because they're on the other side of the equator.
Yep.
But we're trying to plan a trip in January, like a heavy off-road trip, and that's gonna be fun. So I'll probably end up going back there, and we're gonna like really like do 5 days, like off
Mm.
all 5 days, like lost from civilization, crossing
Wow.
beaches and rivers. Like they've showed me the plan, so now they have to get their trucks ready because all I have to do is fly in. So that's the easy part for me.
Oh yeah.
Uh, yeah, and I'm trying to get, a couple American companies on board so we could have like some proper lighting, try to get like some KCs or maybe get some Mickeys so we can have some good tires because like I feel sketched out when I'm there because like I know the American stuff and I'm like let's get some of this so we could actually see because like we went off-roading and these dudes are rocking headlights and I'm like how do you see? Like You just need one set of KC that at least you could 5x your vision. So,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, we got plenty of time. I think they're gonna get their rigs ready because we broke two of them already just by having a little bit of fun. So, yeah, I'm definitely I enjoyed Brazil a lot. You would have had a great time. There's
Yeah, sounds like fun.
this one dude has a shop called Carlos Garage. He hand builds like he hand built a 27, he hand built a 31, a 33, a 34, like fully hand builds because they don't have
Nice.
anything.
Yeah,
And I'm looking at them and I'm like they look amazing. So I know
nice.
you would have really appreciated that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, that's cool. So how do they, if they're doing that stuff, like do they, I
They
mean, what
have
are
the
they using?
originals.
Like in a custom hot rod like that or whatever, what are they using for a motor?
Oh,
Like,
so that you could pretty much do whatever you want. Because I think that they look at it like kit cars. So
okay.
it just comes down to when you re-register them. I think a lot of people don't want to re-register because then you have to start like it's all about taxes over there, and their taxes are wild. So I think a lot
Yep.
of people that's why they keep a lot of things is to save on taxes. But
Yeah. Oh yeah.
if you're spending the money to go wild and already do all this stuff, you probably are going to spend the money on taxes too.
Yep. Yep.
I don't know. I'm just assuming.
Yeah. No, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, yeah, it's a lot of times when you get into the foreign countries and stuff, like everything's so different than what we experience here. So it's yeah, our minds think totally different and how they, yeah, I'm sure they're far more resourceful. We probably throw away parts that they would just die for over
Nothing gets
there.
thrown away. And
Yeah.
it's like one guy, his shop was W Khalil Garage. He showed me photos of his shop. It's physically underneath two trees. No roof, no shop, no concrete floor. It's actually two trees, and he builds show quality fat fender trucks. Like honestly, beautiful trucks. And
Ah,
he does it right there and makes it happen. Him and his son
that's
is
cool.
so I
Yeah,
feel like
that's
it's
cool.
it's what the hot rod industry was like 30, 40 years ago. But that's
And
probably
I wish in some aspects that we could get back to some of that. I mean, obviously as a shop and everything, you want people to come to you as a shop and that sort of thing. But everything's just gotten so like if you're not, you know, if you're built like I feel like even the trucks that were, that I'm building here, like 15 years ago, would have been, you know, I guess way more. I feel like people now are just so dumbed down by the greatness that's been coming out of the hot rod industry. And so when they do see stuff that is still very awesome, it still seems so plain compared to what,
it's not over
say
the top.
rad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you really pay attention to the hot rod world, you see stuff that, Rad Rides, Ring Brothers, Dutch Boys, Detroit Speed for a while there. There's all these, badass shops, BBT Fab and Goolsby's, and like all these really high end, builders that are just turning out some insane stuff. And it's all awesome. But man, it's like, I feel like, again, I loved where the market was as far as like shops and stuff. Yeah, I would say probably 15 years ago,
Yeah, but
just as far as like,
price wise, it was a third of the price 15 years ago.
oh yeah.
That's the big
And
difference. Like our inflation, I feel like, is what also kind of killed it. Because like, let's just look at Troy Peck's 69 that Scott's did.
yeah,
That's $800,000 build, and it's
yeah,
right
and that,
worth every penny of it because there's not a piece on that truck
and
that's original.
and honestly, if that truck in its exact same state was built by some other builders, that'd be $1.5 million truck.
Oh, for sure. And
I mean, Justin, I think, has always kept things a little more manageable as far as cost for people. I mean, yeah, $800,000 is a lot, but like I said, I mean,
well,
if
it's
you would have
also how
taken it,
many years? I think it was a 6 or 7 year build. So like,
yeah, I mean, it was
spending
quite a
that right
while.
away.
It's some of it was obviously they moved from California to Tennessee and paint and this and that. I mean, because that was the last truck I worked on when I was at Scott's. I mean, I
Oh,
was
really?
working on that. I was working on that truck basically like up until the point that I left. I didn't do. A friend of mine did a ton of metal work on it. I came in and did. I actually designed the hood hinges that were on it initially, the initial design of them. And then that's what they sell as a product, now. And but then like I flush fit the windshield and other, custom touches like that on that truck. And so I was working on it then, and that was 2017. So then, yeah, they come through, and then all of a sudden, yeah, now they're they're building, finishing up parts of the build, in 2024, 2025. So it's definitely been a long time as far as the build goes. But man, it's like that truck. As
It's
far as Ford truck
incredible.
goes, man,
It's the
like
people.
I when I see it posted, and obviously, and I don't care what you build or how you build it. There's always going to be those people who nitpick and try to do things like that. But that truck is, and people get offended when you call it like the baddest bump side truck that's ever been built. And people are like, "Well, that's a matter of opinion." You're like, "No, it's
It's a
it's
fact.
pretty much it's
The
a fact
level
on
of
that truck."
craftsmanship is that. Now, whether that's your style, a lot of people don't like the pointy, bump, and a lot of people don't like the super refined edges. I get it because it's not like it's not original at all. But
And
that's
it's not supposed
the
to be.
entire
Yeah.
point. Like
Well,
the
that's just it. I
one,
mean, I'm sorry. Like that was the one thing I took away from the Grand Nats is there's a whole bunch of people that live, and this is probably going to maybe offend a few people, but there's a whole bunch of people that live, let's say Tennessee to the south, that basically they all build the same exact truck over and over and over. You go to the Grand Nats and there's the same short bed 2-wheel drive that's lowered a little bit with a Coyote driving around. There's out of the 1,300 and whatever trucks they had there, it felt like 1,000 of them were single cab, short bed, 2-wheel drive, lowered a little bit with a Coyote in it. And it's just like, I mean, yeah, it's cool. I'm not saying it's not cool, and I appreciate those trucks too. But when guys like Scott's comes out with that truck, and you're like, yeah, okay, this is different. Like this is this is, and it's again, it just shows people what's possible. Like that's what I love about the hot rod industry in general is whether something. I mean, there's been tons of builds over the years by some of the best hot rod builders that when I look at them, I'm like, I don't really like most of that from a style standpoint, and it's not because it's still cool, it's still awesome, but when I look at it, I'm more in admiration of the craftsmanship it took to make it. To when I look at things, I'm like, that is incredible. Like I don't like this, but it's incredible. And I feel like that's what that truck is for a lot of people in the Ford truck world. Is like, yeah, I mean, yeah, they went through and refined everything, and I
it's the
mean,
pinnacle.
remember,
That's what I
yeah, and I think if shops like Scott's with that build aren't setting the bar, it doesn't give people something to aim towards. And I think that's what sometimes the guys who can't afford a build like that, they they also forget that sometimes it takes builds like that to give people inspiration. Like even though they know they can't afford that, they can have inspiration. They can pull bits of inspiration from
idea.
it.
Yeah, you could take an idea. Oh, I like this. I want to do this.
Yeah, and I think, and you can get inspiration from anything, obviously, but I think it's the super crazy high end builds like that really they really open up the door of what's actually possible. Whether you can or want to even achieve some of that stuff is not the point. It's more of just, because in 5 years, maybe some of that stuff that they did to that truck is more obtainable based on technology or somebody comes out with a new product or whatever it is. It just shows guys, hey, this truck right now set the bar. This is the best quality. It's all these things all wrapped in one thing, whether it's full year style or not. You can't argue with the overall quality and level of the build, and that's what I love. I love that about the hot rod world. But then also, yeah, I mean, man, things have gotten so unobtainable. Even for a guy in mind, it's like, I have conversations with people all the time that are kind of hunting, maybe trying to find a build, and then I see like, a couple months later that they're, doing a build with another shop. I don't love that because I wish they would come have us do it. But at the same time, I understand because, my price has to be my price, and if this other shop can meet this guy's budget a little better, then then that's obviously great for them, and they can all work together, that way. But man, it's like when you can, and I think prices of all this stuff in the hot rod world. I mean, man, parts alone. I mean, it's hard to build. It's hard to build a truck these days, no matter what it is, without spending $100,000 on parts. And that's if you're truly doing everything. I mean, having close to 100,000 in parts or around there is very easy. And then obviously, all the guys that have shops have to get paid to feed their families and all that stuff. And that's where I probably shouldn't. I probably respond more on Facebook comments and stuff than I should when it comes to those kind of things, because I think there's just people who just don't get it. Um, but when you have a shop and people are telling you as a business, like, that things are too expensive, or your builds are too expensive, or this and that, and it's the first thing they go to. You post a picture of something nice, and they're like, but that costs 250 grand, and you're like, yeah, what's the point? Like, the customer wanted it, they paid for it, they're happy. Like, what's the big deal? Like, and but it's I love, anyway, back to the point of, like, just this, like I said, the high end build, the Scott stuff. I think it's inspiration for people, even guys like myself, who are trying to make a name for myself in the business, to see builds that just set the bar at a new level. And I love it. So it's cool to see, even in a place like Brazil, where they don't have all the access to things like we do, that they're still able to, yeah, like you said, kind of throw it back a little bit to the way the hot rod industry used to be.
Yeah,
And
they're
make,
pushing hard.
yeah, make stuff from nothing. I mean, I think that's awesome. It's because I'm sure in another 20, 30 years, I would hope that they're able to achieve more, uh, closer to what we're even achieving now here, based on technology and availability and pricing, things like that. Hopefully they can, keep pushing forward, or making their own products, and that kind of stuff. So
And it's slowly happening. And it's cool to see all of it happen. But I know you said you have to sign off pretty soon, so I think it's probably around a decent time to let everybody know where they should go to check out all the different things that you're up to so they can keep following.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I've been working on a new website for a little while. I just haven't had the time to get it all wrapped up with my website guy, but we'll have a new website coming out. It's prddesign.com. We have a website up currently. We just don't have all of our latest products on there fully, but we're building a new store and all that stuff for the new stuff. So that will be hopefully hitting sometime in the next couple months, whenever I can force myself to sit down and work through things on my end, and work together with them. So definitely our website. If anybody has any questions on brake products, or even our engine mount kit that we make for Godzilla stuff for high boys, or I mean, we're dealers for Vintage Air and American Auto Wire, Dakota Digital, Bedwood, Willwood, all that other stuff. So if there's products you guys are looking for, they can call us up, ask us about anything that way. 641 is our number. And then social media is the easiest way to see, what's, I don't, sometimes I forget to post on there, or whatever, or I'll look down and it's like, oh, it's been a week and a half or 2 weeks, and whatever. But yeah, the shop page is just underscore PRD Design on Instagram, PRD Design on Facebook. I've got my personal Instagram that I've had forever, but I just use it for work, so it's still work, but that's my at Fabricated Metal page on Instagram. And yeah, that's kind of it. If somebody wants to email us, just sales@prddesign.com. And that's kind of all of our contact stuff. But yeah, I mean, like I said, our products, as far as brake kits and everything, I mean, we're hoping to keep pushing new stuff out there, so people can, if people are on social media and they want to follow us, or Facebook or whatever, it's the best place to kind of see what's new and coming as we continue to put stuff out there. So
Awesome. Well, I'm gonna keep Mama and the baby in my prayers. I'm looking forward to seeing that post sooner than later. And
yeah,
congratulations on everything else you got going on.
I
Appreciate you
appreciate it,
taking the
sir.
time today, and I'm sure we're gonna talk soon.
Absolutely. Yeah. Let's do it. And then, yeah, appreciate you having us on. And it's always fun to kind of talk about what we got going on, and let people know what we're doing and what we're putting out there. And we'll continue to try to do the best with what we're given. So
There we go. And for all of you guys, if you've made it all the way to this part, please like, subscribe, and drop a comment. I'm really excited for the comments part because I'm curious, what do you think about the podcast? Do you like this? Should I make my own channel? Who should I have on the podcast? So drop all types of comments. Let me know what do you think, and we'll catch you in the next one.
What
See
you
you.
should do,
Go ahead.
I was gonna say what you should do in the future as an idea is, think about it in your travels, do one of these live in somebody's shop. So
Yeah,
you could actually do a little bit of a walk around for the YouTube purposes and all that. That'd be some cool ways to tie in some fun stuff for people to look at. So
that is a good idea. Thank you.
yeah.
And on that, have a good night.